Months into the pandemic, the coronavirus origins still remain a mystery.
Yeah, some scientists say it came from animals. However, others disagree. News 8's medical reporter Mary Gillis is here with us with more.
The investigation is still underway to find out how and when the COVID-19 was unleashed upon the world. Some theorize the virus originated in bats and jumped to humans.
It's very clear to me early on that there was an infected lab worker who went to the local hospital. First of all, if you go on Google Maps, they're about 5 miles apart. That's pretty much 90% of the evidence you need right there when you're talking about the source of a global pandemic. It's one of the few places manipulating bat coronaviruses. We should have never been funding that research, and they should have never been doing it.
But others are convinced that, but one of the nation's most influential scientists, who we just heard from, Dr. Marty Makary, is saying that it came from. It was a scientist at Johns Hopkins University. He was the first to publicly voice in the news media in April of 2020 that COVID-19 was unintentionally released by an infected lab worker at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China. He says the lab worker became infected as a result of the U.S.-funded gain-of-function research designed to enhance the potential transmissibility and infectiousness of a virus. The lab worker, who Makary refers to as Patient Zero, became sick enough to be hospitalized in November of 2019. This is Dr. Mary Gillis, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
Okay, Mary, thank you. More than 1 in 10 people are skipping their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. That's according to the CDC. The agency says that's about 15 million Americans as of June 16th. Adults under the age of 30 are most likely to have missed their second dose. The CDC says it's especially concerning because of the rise of the Delta variant. There's also concern that 46% of the U.S. population has not been vaccinated at all and are at risk of getting or sharing the virus.